Just think, if someone has all these needles stuck in their body, how would they feel? Today's movie is about this. The film story starts with Laris, who calls her sister Au and apologizes to her. Because Au didn't like her work. Laris used to do wrong things. She had a relationship with many boys and she wants to quit this job. Au was angry with Laris, so she didn't answer her call. Au is a makeup artist. Now Laris went to meet her client. Laris is left by her friend who is a taxi driver and also likes Laris. That client's wife and daughter still want to keep a relationship with Laris. Laris tells him that she will never meet him again. Saying this, she leaves. Then that man attacks Laris and tries to force her. Laris runs to save her life and calls Au, but Au doesn't answer the call because of anger. That man starts beating Laris badly and tells her on the balcony that if you don't meet me, you won't meet anyone. Saying this, he throws Laris down. Because of this, 24 fractures occur in Laris's body. Now Laris is in the hospital and doctors tell Au that a part of Laris's brain is dead and only a miracle can save her. Doctors show Au an X-ray in which they see many needles in Laris's brain. Everyone was surprised to see that this case was out of the doctor's control. Laris's news had spread and now Laris's friend tells Au that Laris should go to the village and show it to Shaman. That means a witch doctor who works to drive away ghosts. Au refused because he was sure that she would be fine in a few days. But Laris dies and suddenly Laris's body starts shaking and she gets up and sits down. That means she is alive again. On the way, the patient with Laris sees someone standing. But Au can't see anything. Laris wakes up, whom Au takes care of. Seeing this, Au is ready to take Laris to Shaman and they go to Laris's childhood home. Now Au meets the police officer there and asks about Shaman who could cure Laris. Then he tells him about a shaman. Now Au meets Shaman and tells him about Laris's accident. The village goons group also sees Laris because Laris's news has spread everywhere. Now seeing an old video, Au remembers Laris where Laris says that surgery is expensive. We get to P in both joke. P are needles made of black magic, which is applied to the body to increase beauty so that a person remains young and beautiful for a long time. The needles are made of gold and precious metals and this is done like a ritual, in which the needles protect demons and ghosts, so the human body is in danger of ghosts and spirits. Now P is used to cure people, but if it is used more or ignored, it becomes a curse. And those ghosts enter the human body. Those who wear P, if they fall ill or become a victim of an accident, have to suffer for a long time because their body is bound by magic. Then Au gets a bad smell from a dummy whose face was broken. When Au removes his broken face, he sees a rotten face in it. There were holes in it and he saw Laris's face in a dummy's face. But when Laris's friend came and saw, everything was normal. The next day, Shaman comes and takes out a needle from Laris's face, which hurts Laris and she tries to stop Shaman as if there is someone in it. Laris licks Shaman's face, but Shaman calms her down and starts going from there. On the way, he says that the P in Laris's body is not normal P and they should leave Laris thinking she is dead. Au does not agree and Shaman leaves from there. Au searched for a P expert on the net and she also found a P expert. Suddenly, Laris wakes up and Au sees Laris on the mobile screen. But when she turned around, Laris was lying on the bed. Looking at this, Au's mobile phone falls. Now when Au picks it up, he sees a ghost standing there. But the next moment there was no one there. Now Laris points to one side and that ghost starts scaring Au again. The next day we found out that Shaman had died, whose face had a scar. Gunda tells the villagers about the P and that all this happened because of P. Au tells Laris's friend to go to the expert and ask for help. The villagers also found out that Shaman had died. Laris's friend tells the expert that Laris recovered only when Shaman prayed for her. And when he heard about Laris's condition, he was ready to help. Au apologizes to Laris for not picking up the call that day and goes back to Laris. Then he sees that Laris's body is in pain. Au cleanses the wound on her stomach, in which she sees an eye. Seeing this, her mind gets dizzy. Then someone came out of the closet, which Laris was able to see. And he scares Au. Then Laris's friend came there and everything seemed normal. They brought Laris to the expert. Au tells them to stay out of it because Laris's body has a lot of urine, and his body is colliding with them. Now the expert starts taking out Laris's urine. Then a lot of splashes come out of Laris's mouth. The ghost inside Laris says that he will not leave the body. The expert takes out the urine one by one, and he got to see a lot of ghosts inside Laris. But he took out the urine, after which Laris calmed down. And here the expert was very surprised to know that one urine has not come out yet, which Laris had warned before, and that urine is very powerful. So if the expert takes it out, Laris will not be able to tolerate it and her life can be lost. He was telling all this to Laris's friend. It is known that Laris's friend loves Laris, but he could never tell her because according to him she is not worthy of Laris. But Laris told her sister Au that I think my friend will never accept me. That is, both liked each other but never told each other. Laris was getting better now. But the villagers say bad things about Laris to Au, that her sister is a witch and she should die. Hearing this, Au started crying. That goon also started telling Au wrong things about his mother, which was fine. He says that your mother also had friendships with a lot of boys like Laris. Undoubtedly, go and ask this to the police officer, because he and your mother also had a relationship, and your father is also different. Hearing this, Au completely breaks. Now Au learns everything from the police officer, that his mother was the most beautiful in the village. And a lot of people started loving her and started making a relationship with her. But when he married a man, Laris was born. But his mother also had a relationship with another man, with whom Au was born. When your mother's husband found out about this, he tried to kill your mother. Because of this, the villagers came in anger and killed that man. Your mother was saved, but she was like a living corpse. Her heart was rotten, like Laris's. His mother also had hiccups. Shaman was hired to remove his hiccups. She couldn't take out all the hiccups, so they ritualized and buried her mother, so that the ghost of his mother's hiccups can remain calm in the grave. Laris's body started freezing again, so his friend says that he should let Laris go. Because we did everything. And in this way, Laris is also suffering. Now the police officer tells Au that the man who gave birth to Au is me. That is, you are my daughter, I am your father. Hearing this, Au leaves from there in grief. There we see the ghost inside Laris, where Laris was getting better, and she tried to get close to her friend. Then Au comes and sees it, but Laris is lying on the bed in the same condition. Au thinks that Laris's friend is taking advantage of Laris, so she tells him to go away from there. When he is going at night, he sees the group of goons going to Laris's house, and stops them, which causes a fight between them. Au sees a small Laris inside the house, which takes him to his mother, when she was drowning. Then the same ghost attacks Au from behind. The police officer and the expert come and save him. The expert tells Au that Laris is dead, and the ghost of the urination has taken over Laris's body. He takes Au and the officer out and starts the ritual. There was one thing between Laris and her mother. Like Laris, that lady shaman could not take out all the urine from her mother's body. That's why the lady shaman buried her in her mother's grave. So now Laris will have to be buried in the same grave if she is not cured. The goon instigates the villagers to take Laris and Au out of the village. The villagers get angry and go to Laris's house. Here the expert was doing the ritual to take out the last breath. But the ghost throws the expert away. Then someone gets inside the expert too, and Laris and the expert both start fighting. Who is making sounds like animals? Then the expert sees that Laris is fine, or the expert was about to take out the last breath. Then Laris eats the flesh of the expert's throat. As if she is thirsty for blood, she kills the expert. Seeing this, Au and the officer's feet are covered with dirt. Now the police officer ties Laris in a cloth and tells her that she will have to be buried in her mother's grave. Then the villagers come here, and they kill the police officer. On the way back, Au and Laris's friend take her to the grave. The goon follows them, but Laris's friend kills him with a car. Now they reach the graveyard. Au sees a cloth tied to a stone, and Au realizes that maybe this is the thing that has stopped the ghost inside her mother in that grave. Now they dig her mother's grave, in which her corpse was not at all rusted. It was just like before. It was fresh. Then the ghost stands up again and attacks Ayu. Then Laris's friend saves her. But Laris kills him. Now Laris has become normal and hugs Ayu. Then Ayu apologizes to her. She knew that this was the trick of that ghost. So she throws Laris in the grave. And the ghost leaves. That means he had calmed down. Now Ayu closes the grave. She sits in Laris's friend's taxi and returns. And becomes normal as if nothing had happened. She was sad because she lost everyone she loved in her life. The person who has these sighs cannot die peacefully until all the sighs leave his body. Now only the person who has put those sighs in that person's body can remove these sighs. So this movie tells us how far people can go to get beauty. And we should stay away from such sighs or anything. Because things like sighs can give us happiness for a while. But it can ruin our whole life. So a person should not be so beauty conscious about his beauty. And with this message, this story ends here.